usually we flush out water heater because you get a lot of sediment at the bottom of the water heaters, and that can cause less hot water over time, because especially like sediment buildup, like especially if you don't have a water softener, which everybody should have a water softener on their home, especially here in Indiana, because we have some pretty hard water, and that really causes a lot of problems for these water heaters.
Never fear, Allpro is here.
Hey, welcome to the Allpro podcast today, where we are talking about water heaters.
Water heaters.
I love hot
water
water.
Heater. Yeah.
I love hot water. I mean, come on.
Who doesn't want hot water?
I know. It's so nice. We'll do very similar to what we just did with the HVAC equipment, is go over types of water heaters very quick. There's not as many types. They're not as fancy as HVAC systems. I mean, they're getting fancier though.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
Yeah.
What's the basic water heater?
Well, I mean, just like with furnaces, there's 80 and 90% water heaters. So they can be more efficient, less efficient. 80% of course is less efficient. Now you do have on-demand water heaters too, or tankless water heaters. So, and we get a lot of questions about those too, because people are always asking about tankless water heaters, you know. So if you want to make that switch over, we can do that. You know, you can definitely switch it over. I mean, they are smaller. So, and to switch it over, generally what we usually like to tell people is that the electric ones, you really don't want to really mess with electric tankless water heaters, because it's going to be a lot of money, spending a lot of money to upgrade your electrical panel, because you're going to have to upgrade your electrical panel, because these things take a lot of energy, and it's really not worth doing the electric tankless water heaters.
They're not as warm. They're just there's people always
that
complain
too.
about them.
Yeah, but it's a lot of work to put one in, and we can do it, and and it's a possibility if that's something somebody wants. But I would stick to if you're thinking about doing tankless, I would do a gas one for sure. They are very nice. They're very efficient, and we have to size those things properly, right? Just like you do with a regular water heater. We need to know how many bathrooms, kitchens, things like that you possibly have, because if you don't size it right, you're not going to. It's just like with a regular water heater, it's not going to be enough hot water. So it's not. I think that's a misnomer there. Sometimes they think, well, I'll just get a tankless one and it'll be like constant hot water all the time. Well, you still have to size those things right. So.
Yeah, you do, because if not, then it is not going to work and not keep up. And then you put like little baby nut, kind of like a baby water heater in certain things. You have that instantaneous hot water, or you do circulating pumps. We can get really fancy. We're not going to go that far today. We're going to keep it very high level on this for sure. So we got a regular water heater, which is like the big tank. You walk into a thing, looks like a big tank. And then we have our tankless, which is a little, guys, that go on the wall. The difference there is too, so there's maintenance to both. Okay. So there's flushing your water heater, which why do you flush the water heater?
Usually we flush out water heater because you get a lot of sediment at the bottom of the water heaters, and that can cause less hot water over time, because especially like sediment buildup, like especially if you don't have a water softener, which everybody should have a water softener on their home, especially here in Indiana, because we have some pretty hard water, and that really causes a lot of problems for these water heaters. And if it builds up a lot of sediment, and if you have an electric water heater, that can cause a lot of burnout elements, but also just the sediment, actually, if you think about it. So you got your big old water heater, right?
Yep, big old water heater.
And then what happens is when you get sediment, it starts to build up like this. Now you have half the water heater you had. So now you don't have as much hot water.
It's like Houdini. It's a shrinking.
Yeah. So now your hot water now
heater.
Now you'll notice, like, well, my hot water used to last a long time. Now I can barely get a shower out of it.
And that's a big thing. So not necessarily with gas. You'll see it with gas when you see that sediment build up, that very thing. But in electric, that is element issues normally. On top of sediment, it can have the elements going out, or the sediment, or a combination of the two. Like we pulled elements out of the bottom one where the sediment is higher than the bottom element. And I mean, the whole thing is just cake and corroded, and it's all kind of gross looking.
So definitely have soft water.
It helps.
Get a water softener.
It helps. All right. So let's ask this question. What is the point of a water softener? What does it do to the water? Like Indiana's, we have a lot of limestone and that kind of thing, like hard minerals here. So why have a water softener? Like, what is soft water?
Well, soft water is to keep that from that buildup.
Yeah.
The calcium buildup on everything, and everything in your house, not just a water heater. It does a lot of damage to just sinks or faucets, uh, dishwashers, everything in the home. So it's
Yeah.
definitely important to have that.
It kind of
But
takes
yeah,
the rockiness. Is
yeah,
that what
just that buildup.
the
Yeah,
minerals, takes the minerals out,
yeah,
basically.
yeah,
Is hard water.
yeah. The
Which
hard
is like
water.
those when you're trying to clean your faucet and water sat there and you got that little white line and you're trying to like scrub it and it doesn't want to come off and
Mhm.
it's there you go. That's the hard water right there. Those minerals
Yeah,
compositing and they're the bane of every cleaner's existence and it gets on your shower and you can see it on the shower door and yeah. But if you
but
have
yeah.
water softener, it's not as bad.
But and also, even with the water softener, you want to continue to do the water heater flush to
Yep.
maintenance your water heaters. Even a tankless water heater, we need to come out and you know do a maintenance on it. There's certain things that
Mhm.
we have to do to those things to keep them running efficiently and keep them running so they're there when you need it.
Yeah.
It's nothing worse than probably like taking a shower and then it turns cold, or all of a sudden you can't take a shower and you really need one, but it's so cold, and then you gotta maybe go to your family member's house or go rent a hotel room,
I
or
think
it's just inconvenient.
you gotta
So
do it.
might as well maintenance the thing, because maintenance is very important for both plumbing and heating and cooling, because it's the inconvenient part too for
Mhm.
for the homeowner, or for the property owner, whoever,
Yep.
wherever, whatever you're at. It's always inconvenient because it always happens at the time that you most need it.
Mhm.
So it's best just to get the things maintenance and looked at. So
We have a clean air promo for you. And what it is it's going to be an air test and a tune up. And what's the value of that, Dave?
that will take care of everything that's might be going wrong with your system that we need to take a look at.
Yeah, it's going to let us check your air, check your system, make sure your pressures are going, your humidity's in the right place. There's not too many chemicals, too much dust. And what that's going to do is it's going to give you peace of mind. And we're going to give you a report and let you know what's going on. So it's normally about $325 for both those items together. We're going to go ahead and knock them down to $99 with the promo code Clean Air. Sign up today and we'll get you taken care of. So say you have a utility closet, right? You got your HVAC system and you got your big water heater tank.
Yeah.
And you say, I need more hot water. I have a teenager at home.
Well, you have probably a couple options. You could just go to tankless, now like we talked about before. If you don't have gas and you have electric, that could be pretty pricey. If you have, or you could actually put on what they call a mixing valve on the water heater and not have to change it over to a tankless one, which will actually get you more hot water out of the current size water heater you have. So if you want to replace the water heater, say you want to replace the water heater, right? And you like, I think what you're trying to say is that you don't have enough room in that area, right?
Right. Yep.
So what if you wanted to say, oh, I wanted to upgrade this water heater, but I wanted a bigger water heater because I want more hot water because I just don't have enough hot water, and you don't have the room for it. Well, instead of having to try to move that water heater to a garage or a basement or wherever, it could be very costly. There's a thing out there right now that we can put on there called a mixing valve, which will help get more hot water out of the current size water heater that you have. So it's
so
actually
you
a very
upsize it.
good way to get more out of what you already have, instead of spending a bunch of money, trying to move it or trying to update it to a tankless, things like that.
Yeah, we get that question a lot. HVAC, plumbing, it doesn't matter. I want to upgrade this. They want the most energy efficient, which is great. And then you say, okay, there's a lot of infrastructure we have to change. We're either changing power, we're changing venting, we're changing, like when it comes to HVAC, we're changing ductwork.
Maybe location of things.
Yeah, like we have to reroute stuff, and like it can be quite
invasive.
Yes.
And expensive.
Yep.
It can be expensive.
And sometimes people aren't aware of that, which is why we want to make sure that we bring some of these products to the market and talk about different options available. So, there's more cost-effective solutions normally with what you have there. Manufacturers are getting very good about hearing what consumers want without creating these super high dollar options that you have to take everything over to this version to get that kind of cost savings. So it's a lot of,
and that's the thing. There's options out there for different things. Like like this mixing valve, right? That a lot of people just don't know about.
No.
They're not thinking about it. They're just thinking, well, I need more hot water, so I need a bigger tank. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah, I mean,
but there's other options out there that we can do that maybe you don't need to do that. Maybe because, like I said, there's a area restriction on what you can do in that area. And you're like, I don't want to buy a bigger water heater. Maybe the water heater is only like, say, a couple years old. And I don't want to spend a bunch of money on a brand new water heater when I can buy a mixing valve and get more hot water out of the one I currently have.
Who wants to throw away a perfectly good water heater or
Yeah.
water? Something is working just fine. Who wants to throw that away? Nobody.
No.
Because they're not cheap, you know. And I think one thing that I don't think we covered, but if we did, we're going to cover it again, is a power vent, because that is the new thing in water heater land, of a power vent, which just is really short for, they're normally 90%. That's what I was trying to say.
Yeah.
But what we are seeing now in the technology segment of water heaters is the new heat pump water heaters.
Yeah.
Which that's a different thing altogether.
That's interesting. Yeah. So the heat pump water heaters they're pretty interesting for sure. They have they got good warranties on them right now. And they're really pushing those out there. And what's amazing about those too is you can actually get an app for your phone with these things. And you can say, okay, well, how much hot water did I use this month? And when did I use hot water? And who is, not who, but like, okay, when you take a shower, you can tell when you're taking a shower because, okay, well, my energy bill went up a little higher during this time. So it's everything. You have an app for everything now.
Yeah.
Even a water heater you have apps for.
It's turning into a very, very smart world out there.
So
in our things, it just keeps getting smarter and smarter.
Yeah. And a heat pump water heater will help save energy because it's like it's kind of like an electric furnace where you're heating up. An element is basically a coil. It's basically you're heating up. It takes a lot of energy to heat that up. So a heat pump water heater it's basically like it's what it is. It's like a heat pump you would use for like heating your home almost like so.
It's on top though. It's very small. It's all small. It's just for the water thing. But it's kind of fascinating.
Now that's another thing to bring up. It does make them bigger, taller.
Yeah, they are.
So there could be a size restriction for that possibly too. So that's something you got to take into account if you wanted to switch over to a heat pump water heater. But that is something that they have started.
Yeah, that's like the creme de la creme of the water heater area. That's
for electric.
Yes,
for
those heat pump ones. Those are not cost effective. They save you a lot. So it's one of the things that, and this is what we're seeing in the industry. The more energy efficient it is, the more upfront cost it's normally going to cost you.
Yeah.
So you get that savings you kind of get it over time versus upfront.
And you do have to balance that out. So you got to balance that out. So if you're wanting to go green because because we're all trying to do better for the environment, right? So if that's why you're doing it, that's really good. But if you're trying to do it because you want to save on your monthly bill, that's a totally different thing because sometimes the upfront cost of some of this stuff, like the energy efficient things, they can cost a lot more money to do that over time. You're really not making your money back out of what you buy.
And that's
so you got to make that decision. Are you doing it for you're going green because you're helping out humanity and the environment, right? Or are you just trying to do it to save on your energy bill? If you're trying to do it, any of the energy efficiency things, a lot of times if you're trying to do it to save money on your energy bill, unless things have already been set up that way and there's no extra work involved, it's just the extra upfront cost of the product. Because they do cost more too, then you might be all right. But if we have to make a lot of different changes of like the vent pipes need to be changed out because you were at 80% gas, now you want a 90% gas, things like that. Now you're talking about it's a lot more upfront cost. And is that going to save you money over time? So, and
that's something that we help calculate and help balance that out because there's so many different options. We could be talking on here for days. And that's why we want to figure out what's needed, what's the use, and then we go from there and we help make the right decision. Normally somewhere right in the middle, get you energy efficiency with giving you a good effective cost savings for sure. So, well, that is it for today. Join us in a couple weeks. Oh, I'm supposed to remind you guys that we're releasing podcasts every other Wednesday. So tune in for that. I think I forgot to mention that. And we will see you next time. Have a great one.
Thank you for watching or listening to the Allpro podcast. Allpro Heating and Air is your complete comfort solution. For more information on how we can help you save money with your heating and air systems, visit callallproindy.com.